Hello, Mr. Tenkey here, number 675. Dear Management, an employment agreement is not a static thing. It is a dynamic document where nothing is set in stone and nothing is permanent. And what I want to drive home today is why that fact is so important to the basic transaction at hand. So let's just start with the transaction. And at its purest form, and even if I'm in the house, it's still whiteboard time. So, at its purest form, employee X performs tasks A, B, and C for employer Y. This is usually done at a preset dollar, wage, etc. That's negotiated. And then there's a couple questions at the end of the day, or maybe even partway through the day. Employee X, do you want to come back and do this again tomorrow? And employer Y, do you want to allow employee X to come back tomorrow and do it all over again? And I mention all this because I think this is the part that's often forgotten, underappreciated by both sides. But we have to really remember that once a contract or employment agreement is negotiated, everything from that point forward is a day-to-day transaction and a day-to-day decision by both parties. And if you keep that in mind, it's kind of humbling. But instead, what I see is what I call the feels. And I've been victim to this, and it sneaks in the form of misperceptions, change in beliefs, expectations placed on something, people are let down, hopes are there, etc. And unfortunately, all that area are just landmines for where employment discord lives. But there is a way to combat this, and that's by pushing headlong into it. And here's where I get a big ugh. Because if both sides would just step back a couple steps, take a deep breath, and contemplate things from an outside perspective, I think it would be a humbling event versus what they think is this angst that they have to win. Because, and again, if this is even too close for you, you get an alternative evaluator in there to help you, okay? But I think you're going to see it more as a humbling experience, and then. But again, if you do confirm it's angst and it's not going to change, and why live in that? Okay, life is too short. That's when, as an employee, you do move on because you don't see a change, and as an employer, maybe you help that employee move on. But I think it's going to be the other way around, and so now it's moral time. So when you're diving into this discord to try to figure out what's happening, have realistic expectations and look for the why. And look from a different perspective than your own shoes. Try to step out of it. Try to see what your actions are doing from a different viewpoint. And hopefully you can do that, because that's the things that are going to change a simple employment transaction to that of a long-term employment relationship. And I've heard this so many times from loan officers. I'm not in it for the transaction. I'm in for the long haul, the relationship. I'm a relationship salesperson. So I think we all should take note of that. Be a relationship employer. Be a relationship employee. Anyways, those are my couple pennies. Have a good day, peeps.